Hi everyone, hope you're doing okay. I want to share with you a story of a woman that I have just been consumed with. I can't get her out of my mind and I've kind of been stuck there with her for quite a while, and so the story is worth sharing, and I'd like to share it with you. And this woman, it says that she had an issue in her life for 12 years. 12 years. And that got me thinking and has had me thinking, don't we all have issues? We all have issues in our life. And I thought, wow, the common ground is that we all have issues. And I thought, okay, this woman's issue pestered her, hounded her for 12 years. And so I thought, I want to talk about human issues. And I want to spend time in a series about human issues. And this woman is the woman who inspired it. She had an issue. But her story starts like this. It actually starts in Luke chapter 8 of the Bible. And it says that there was this crowd around Jesus, pressing into Jesus. And he was trying to get from point A to point B, but there were so many people pressing, it was hard for him to maneuver. And a guy came up to him who was a Jewish man and knelt down before him and said, Master, Master, my daughter is dying and she's only 12 years old. And he actually hung on to Jesus's feet and said, please come and heal my 12-year-old daughter. Interesting that the daughter was 12. Here is a story I'm going to share with you today about two 12-year issues. The 12-year-old was about to die, wanted Jesus to come save her. As he was on the road to Jairus' house, this crowd was still pressing round about him. And in the crowd was a woman, the woman that I've been consumed with. And that woman, we're told, she pressed through the crowd. She pressed in and squeezed her way in between people. Her situation was, for 12 years, she had what the scripture calls an issue of blood. Now, we would call that a hemorrhage. But she had this issue in her life for 12 years. She has this issue of bleeding, a hemorrhage. It was so severe, it says that she spent all the money she had on doctors, and it says that the doctors couldn't help her. So after 12 years, lost all of her money, still no doctor's help, still having this issue in her life, 12 years, she's thinking, I've got one hope. I'm going to press through this crowd and I'm going to touch that Jesus guy. That Jesus guy was, she knew, going to heal her. And as she came up, scripture says in Luke 8, she came up behind Jesus and she reached her hand out and she touched the bottom of his robe. Scripture says she was immediately healed. She felt, it says, she felt in her body that she had been healed, and she knew her issue had been settled because she pressed through the crowd to touch Jesus. Jesus responded. He turned around and he said to the disciples, who touched me? Okay, the disciples looked at Jesus like, that's a dumb question. There's hundreds of people. Hundreds of people are touching you, Jesus. And Jesus said, no. This woman, somebody touched me. Power left me. I felt it. Now, Jesus already knew who it was, but he was trying to engage the disciples in some faith too, don't you think? And he turned, and there was the woman who came up to him now and explained her whole story and said, and it says, in front of everyone, she said to Jesus, I've spent everything. I didn't have any other hope, and I pressed through, and I thought if I could just touch the bottom of your garment, you will heal me. And Jesus looked at her and said, you know what? You are absolutely right. You go in peace, daughter. Your faith has made you whole. And from that very moment, the 12-year issue in her life, the thing that nobody else could help her with, the thing that she couldn't shake, the thing that had brought her pain and misery and discomfort and just hopelessness for 12 years had been instantly healed because she pressed through to touch Jesus. That's issue number one, 12-year issue. As Jesus is talking to that lady, people from Jairus' house come, and they come running, pressing through the crowd. They say, Jairus, don't bother the master anymore. Your daughter's dead. It's too late. It's beyond hope. Jesus paid no attention, and he kept walking to Jairus' house. When he gets to Jairus' house, he sees everybody in the house wailing and weeping and mourning because here a little 12-year-old child has died. Jesus presses through the crowd and he tells them, don't worry, she's just sleeping. Scripture tells us that the people in the crowd, in the house, laughed at him. The Jewish people in that house laughed at him. Yeah, she is not just sleeping, she's dead. We know a dead person and she's dead. Scripture tells us that Jesus went in and he took her by the hand. He touched the girl and he told her to wake up. And the dead 12-year-old girl woke up. And her mom and dad and the disciples who were in the house, in that room with her, were amazed because Jesus reached out and touched a 12-year-old issue, a 12-year-old girl, and brought it to life, brought it from death, brought hope back into her precious little life. Then he turned to the disciples and he said, well, no, he didn't. He turned to the parents and he said, give her something to eat. And they were amazed. These stories are remarkable because you and I have issues. We have issues that bring death upon us. We have issues that we've struggled with for years. We have issues that we've spent our own resources and strength on. We have issues in our life that we can't get through. We have issues in our life. Some of them may be long-standing. But this story in Luke chapter 8 is so hopeful. And I present it to you as hope that here are two 12-year issues. One reached out and touched Jesus. She was a Gentile. One, Jesus reached out and touched. She was a Jew. But both issues were healed. 12-year issues healed completely because Jesus. Whatever the issues are in your life, however long-standing they are, we all have issues. We all can press through and bring them to Jesus, and we all can feel his healing and miraculous touch in your life. We have human issues, but we have Jesus. Go with God.